Welcome back to Bible and Blues, and we are doing a new project here where we are reviewing the television show Legion. This is a really cool show. If I thought I knew Marvel Comics, and then as they've been doing all these reboots of these television shows and all these minor characters and really digging into them, I mean, it turns out I didn't know that world. All right, apparently this show is based off of that whole Marvel comic book series where all this Stan Lee stuff is. So hey, I mean, this is a cool show though. This is what I'm finding out. So yeah, I'm way behind. I decided to start doing this now that Emerald City is finished up. I have the time to do a new project, and Legion is one that it just started this season. We're 5 episodes in at this point, as of the date of this recording. There's only 8 episodes in the season, so I'm going to do my best to get caught up pretty quick in time to be able to at least do the season finale as a current one, right? So we'll do 2 or 3 of these a week until we're caught up. So shouldn't be too long. Should just be a couple of weeks. We'll be all caught up and up to date with episode 6 or so. So. I went to a trade show for my industry, and I ended up with a cool reddish, pinkish. What do you call that? I don't know. It looks more pink in eyes than it does on the camera there. But cup. But so Legion. Our main character's name is David. Now you can tell by the by the picture over here, his mind is blowing up, right? Okay, so that's why I chose that picture. I thought it was really cool. This picture is kind of cool. They use this really well. So our main character is a guy named David Haller, and he's been having problems his whole growing up his life, and they opened up the show with that scene of him as a baby and growing up as a child, and as things happen, strange things kind of start to happen, and they kind of breeze through this fairly quickly in about 10 minutes or less. But then they show his teenage years, and boy, that was rough. I mean, teenage years are tough enough as it is. I know I've got a teenager I'm dealing with now, and so teen years can be tough. So that you need to balance between giving them freedom, giving them discipline, right? Well, imagine if that teen had incredible psychological powers too on top of that, and could hear voices, and pretty much had all the trappings of a psychotic person, literally, somebody with a psychosis. So after getting into some trouble as a teenager, he ends up in a hospital. They give him antipsychotics, and they show him shaking the pills, and then then they show him as a 20-something-year-old adult, and he's sitting there beside on his bed, and his girlfriend's there in bed, and they give you the titillating shot of her, whatever. But then he stands up and he goes to try to commit suicide with an extension cord. Of course, he fails. It'd be a really short show if he had succeeded, or he'd have a totally different power than we expect. And he's institutionalized, of course, for that. Through all this thing, he's having hallucinations and things like that. So we kind of see him in the hospital. He's being visited by his sister, and apparently it's his birthday because she has a cupcake, and there's a sparkler in it. And who does really put sparklers in a cupcake? I mean, I see this on TV, but I and why would they allow that even in the visiting room? Anyway, I digress. So she's asking, how are you doing? She was like, you're enjoying your birthday? And they're like, oh, yeah, we have a big old party. And I'm really? No. But we do get better drugs. Really? No. She's doing the best she can. She's what you would call a normal person. And, she's just doing the best she can with a brother like him. And he gets up and he's like, so the visiting hours are over, but she's asking if he's okay, and he's seeing people in the room there with him and that are not there. I mean, it's supposed to, this old couple, one's sitting in one corner, one's sitting in another, and they're kind of laughing at him, right? So anyway, uh, so he gets up. He's like, something's got to change. This is just getting too. This is too. Every single day is the same. It's just really good. It's killing him here. Then a new girl shows up in there, and he's sitting there. He's been talking to his friend Lenny, who is a black-haired girl, and Lenny is played by Aubrey Plaza. So Lenny Busker is his best friend in the whole wide room, and he's sitting there talking to her, and well, she's doing most of the talking. And all of a sudden, in walks our heroine of the show here, Sid Barrett, played by Rachel Keller. Yes, I have IMDb up as I do this, trying to get some stuff going here. So he's very enraptured by her initially. She's a pretty blonde, and he tries to give her, he tries to be nice and pretty much runs into her, and she's kind of freaking out, too close, so it didn't work out too well. So he's next scene he's in bed, and this is, let me tell you something about this psychiatric hospital he's in. This is a high-end psychiatric hospital. This is a nice place. There's special uniforms. It's really well lit, and the people are wearing the patients are wearing these relatively nice outfits, even though they are all the same. I mean, compared to hospital gowns or pajamas or whatnot that people would be wearing. Never been to a psychiatric hospital. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me down below in the comments if I'm wrong about this. But every television show, because that's what I'm gonna have to go by, that has a psychiatric hospital, they might have some normal clothes, but they don't, but their uniforms aren't, jumpsuit style. They're anyway. So he goes to bed. We see him in the next scene. He's in bed, and he's dreaming. And then his bed levitates. So as he's dreaming, his bed levitates. So, we get the first taste of his powers. Up it goes, and then he wakes up, and it drops really hard to the ground. And that doesn't turn out too well for him. Because, it makes all this noise, and the orderlies come in, and their natural reaction is, you're being violent, you're going to be sedated. So they sedate him. Next scene, he's in group with his doctor. Dr. Kissinger is who that is. And let's see here. Dr. Kissinger. Okay, so they don't even have who played Dr. Kissinger? Come on. He was in more than one episode, too. So he's in group with Dr. Kissinger, and there's some other people there, and Lenny's there with him, and she's got her headphones on and everything. It's, surprised it'd be allowed him, but whatever. And then in walks a new girl, Sid, and pretty soon Sid's giving him this this really kind of astral line of well, maybe you're fine, and this is just they're just trying to treat you for something, and they're the strange ones kind of thing, or maybe you're just okay, and there's no problem with you here. So and he's like, would you be my girlfriend? And she's like, sure, but you can't touch me. Her big thing is, in this circumstances, she does not want to be touched. Okay, so he starts falling. He's falling for her, and they have this really weird dating thing. Of course, they can't even hold hands, and all they can do is talk. Which is okay. I mean, it's from a Christian standpoint, it's not a horrible thing, but from a moralistic point of view. So then we kind of cut away for a second, and he's in a different room with a different group of people. He's being interviewed, and by this guy, and he has the guy whose only his character name is the Eye in there with him. and he's sitting in the corner carving something, out of balsa wood, just kind of looking creepy. Um, and so he's being interviewed with this guy, and seems like a police officer, police interrogation kind of thing, but the room is definitely not a police room of any kind, but it's very artsy, and the table is a particular way, and then there's all these cubes up in the roof. But this guy's telling him that actually Sid was never there, and and they've had David off of his meds for like a week now, so he's he's stressing out and he's acting kind of off. And their goal in this interview is what they're trying to figure out, how Lenny died. Okay, so we're gonna get to that part here in a little bit. So Sid and David, I know we're doing a little jumping back and forth. I'm figuring out how to do this show still. Sidney comes into his room. He was dreaming about her. He was laying there and he's dreaming about her. And then she comes into his room. She's carrying one of her pillows, and they have again another sign that this is a different kind of hospital, higher end kind of hospital. She has this round pillow, right? I'm making all kinds of noise anyway. But she has this round pillow, and it's so with her, and he has one too, but she wants to get in there, and it's kind of a weird kind of snuggle, not touching snuggle thing, right? But she tells him she's leaving the next day, and that he has to get better so he can get out too. Then they go back to the interview, and it turns out the interview is completely staged. So the interviewer, I can't find this particular guy's name, leaves the room, and it's all staged inside of a high school or something like that, gymnasium with everything going on, and they're a government agency is what they are. There's a guy that's in charge. This guy comes up to and is talking to him, just saying, this guy is probably one of the most powerful mutants that we've ever found, and so that gives you your whole X-Men Marvel comic connection right there. And this guy in charge is saying, I think we should kill him now because we may not be able to later. The guy doing the interview, I think, is a doctor of some kind, psychiatrist, research, I'm not sure what, but he's saying, no, we need to, let me interview him. Give me time to interview him, see if we can figure it out, pull him onto our side, kind of concept. So then we go back to we'll go back to David and his memories. He had this one memory that is really powerful in there. Is this memory of him in the kitchen. It looks like in his kitchen. And first off, the house he's in is not the house of a dysfunctional person. It does remind me of an older house. It's an older house, but it has like 10-foot high ceilings, and the kitchen has all these actually pretty decent utensils in it and everything. So apparently his girlfriend makes a good living or something, because he's too dysfunctional to be able to keep a job probably. So that's but in this memory of the kitchen, the whole kitchen essentially blows up. It's really kind of cool. If you watch the episode, you understand what I'm talking about. But everything comes out of the cupboards, and everything blows up and goes up in the air, and then things start spinning around him and everything. And there's this yellow-eyed demon that is in there with him, and he's I'm not sure what he represents yet. He's there. He has and whether he has something to do with his power or something to do with his mental abilities or mental capabilities, or he's a crutch or something. I don't know yet. So anyway, so when we go going back to the mental hospital, when Sid is leaving, he takes a plunge. David takes a plunge. He runs up and he kisses her. Okay, and now we find out why she didn't like to be touched. She didn't want to be touched. It turns out that she has a power, and it is a transference of people, souls in bodies. And so now all of a sudden he kissed her and they transfer bodies. And now he's in her body and she's in his body. And things get a little, go a little off here because, of course, Sid is completely aware of what's going on, is freaking out, saying, "No, this is bad. This is not good. This isn't me happening." And of course, David, our hero, is thoroughly confused. He can't, he's not aware yet of what happened for a little bit, and a little bit later he starts to figure out, oh my gosh, I'm in her body. It's really weird. He has to process it. But because he's in her body, he's able to walk out of the hospital. So because he can walk out as her, because she was supposed to be released anyway. But before that happens, the whole building shakes. Now she's in an exam room. Dr. Kissinger takes her over to an exam room just to keep her safe from all the chaos that's suddenly happening after they kiss, and everybody's going nuts. And now there's a general lockdown in the place, so everybody's being sent to their rooms. All of a sudden, the whole building shakes, and Dr. Kissinger says, "You're safe here. I'm going to go figure out what's going on." So he goes back, goes out there, and then she follows, of course, or he follows, however you want to think about it. Him and Sid's body follows, and it's really weird. All the doors are gone, for all the rooms. So people are in their rooms and they're pounding on there trying to get out, and it's like, I can't get out, and there's no door now. Okay, they can't get out. You'd be freaking out too if all of a sudden you're in your room and the door disappeared entirely. And then they run into Lenny, and Lenny is partway in a wall and out of a wall. So Lenny was weird. Okay, she's messed up. She's dead. Okay, Lenny's dead. So this isn't the end of Lenny. We see her later in the episode. So after the hospital, he sits down as her, has a cup of coffee, trying to figure out thoroughly disconnected, not understanding what's going on. And all of a sudden he turns back into his body, comes to him, which is kind of weird. I mean, if you're instead of the souls transferring back over, the body's caught up with the souls. Okay. So that's kind of weird. So now all of a sudden, if you think about it, now Sid is in his room, because that's where his body was. It was in his room with no door. So after the hospital, after the hospital, he has no place to go really. So he goes over to his sister's house, and she has a relatively normal life, and this is Halloween apparently. And so he shows up, and there's some trick or treaters there, and she takes care of the trick or treaters, and lets him in. It's like, I just need a place to stay for a couple of days. Just got to figure things out. So she puts him in her basement. And while down there, Lenny's memory, the memory of Lenny, I'm not sure what yet, comes to visit him. And he's, sits there and talks to him. And he's like, Lenny's like, "You killed me. That is so uncool." It's like, well, it wasn't you. It was her in your body with your powers. So, we're getting more deeper into that. More deeper. That was good English, wasn't it? So with the whole interview is going on too. We're going back and forth here a little bit. So he spends some time with it in there, and it says in the basement, and he breaks a lamp with his powers by accident, just freaking out a little bit, just saying, "What's going on here?" Right? And his sister comes down, and for reasons I don't really understand, but they have their gardening utensils, like shears and snips and sharp objects hanging on the wall that down there in the basement. And I guess it just made the story better. So she starts picking them up off of the wall and saying, "Well, he's gonna have to go do some gardening tomorrow, so I'll just take these now," because she doesn't, she's seen what's happened over the years. She has this thing. So he has a bad reaction in the interview, by the way. Let's go back to that, because he goes back to he does the he has a bad reaction. He blows up the interview room essentially, and they gas him. Okay, so the gas just knocks him out. But then next thing you know, we're in a memory of him trying to find Sid at the hospital, because I mean, if he's out, she must be in, right? So he's trying to find out what happened to her, and they're saying, well, there's no record of her, yada yada yada. So then he sees our couple of people, and we have names for them. They are Potomi. Yeah. So Potonomy, and Carrie Loudermilk, and played by Jeremy Harris and Amber Midthunder, respectively. And they're looking for him. They've been in the hospital looking for him, and so he's but he just knows that somebody's looking for him. He doesn't know who they are. So he takes off and he starts walking away from them and everything, and they're kind of following him. Then all of a sudden he sees Sid, and it turns out Sid tells him straight up, this is just a memory. And I've been injected into your memory because I can't see you here. You need to follow these instructions. And because I'm in this memory, you're going to remember this. And this is a good one to tag me into, I guess. I don't know. So she's tagged into this memory, and she's telling him, when when you're in the water and when you wake up, you need to slide slowly out under the water. And he's like, what? So anyway, so then he wakes up and he's in. Remember, he was in the maid room, right? Well, this maid room. This is one of those inconsistencies I catch. I don't know. Was built in a pool, an Olympic-sized pool. So the pool was they apparently, since they gassed him, they took all the building out, filled the pool with water. So apparently this gas had him out for a long time, maybe, because how long does it take to fill an Olympic half size? I think it was a half size pool. But how long does it take to fill one of those things? It doesn't happen fast. Okay. Somebody help me out with this. Even if you have a heck of a pump, it's going to take a long time to do. So he's in this water, and the guy who was doing the interview is standing on a platform. There's guys in black with AR-15s and assault rifles, standing around the pool, and he's saying, okay, now we're kind of down to the brass tacks. You give me any guff, and there's cables inside the water, and I will hit this button, and we will fry you with thousands of volts of electricity. So you have to do what I tell you to do. And if you try to hurt us, you're going to die. So he starts. So then the guy asks about Sid, saying, we want to find her too. We want her too. So he's like, I think you're about to find her. So he slides himself under the water, and all of a sudden, everything erupts in flames around, and charred husks of bodies start dropping into the water. So his girlfriend came to save him, along with Tonomi and Carrie are there as well. There's a few others that are there as well. It's kind of a full-on mutant assault attack here, just to save him, protect him. So that, and then as he leaves, he's asked. They're down to the water. They've been getting away, and they get down to the water. Where I presume there's a boat waiting for him, and Melanie, Dr. Melanie Bird, played by Jean Smart, is down there waiting for him, and he's like, first off, I have to know, Sid, is this real? Is this fake, or is it in my mind? Am I still in the hospital? Am I hallucinating? Is this real? And she's like, this is real. This is real. I'm here and I love you. Yada yada yada. And so he sees Dr. Bird and Dr. Melanie, and but he also sees the yellow-eyed demon kind of tucked away in a cubbyhole cave behind him, and he sees it, and she's saying, it's kind of we need to get going kind of thing. So, but that's where the end of the episode. That was the end of the episode, though. Yeah. So. Tell me what you thought. I'm going to work on my delivery on this one. Try to figure out how I think it's going to become more I'm going to be able to. It's not going to be as complicated as Emerald City was, but I don't think. But I think I'm going to work on giving a better delivery on this. But other than that, what did you think of the show Legion? Did you know about this character prior to the show? Because, like I said, I thought I knew a little bit about the Marvel world, and it turns out there's all these characters I had no idea about. Okay, and so you tell me, was this guy new? Was this guy been around a while? Is this guy created just for it? I don't think so. But so yeah, and if you like what we're doing here, make sure to subscribe. There's a little button right over here, right there to subscribe. So check it out. And so, God bless. We'll talk to you later.